Hello everybody! Today I'd like to take you through the Voxel Object Editor and just show you what everything is and a little bit about how to use it. So to get started from here on the main page at docbigbang.com, we'll just click on Create Objects right here, and you have a few that you can pick through to start with, like the human, this little bunny mecha, and some of these might change from time to time, but we're just going to start with an empty object here. New, and you get a little tutorial that you can already kind of quickly glimpse through and take a look about how to make shapes and add and remove voxels to your scene. But we're going to go through all that here just now, so let's not worry about that. So you're going to be able to follow along with me here with this bit of user input down here at the bottom, and it'll just show you everything that I'm clicking and pressing. In case you get a little lost, you can always find the help menu down here, which will have things like the keyboard shortcuts and that little tutorial video that we saw just a moment ago. So let's just get familiar with moving through the scene here. So if I middle click, I'm grabbing the entire, imagine that it's the camera that I'm moving around here. And this is just panning. By middle clicking, I'm panning. And if I right click, I'm turning. So I'm turning it around. And if I scroll in and out with the mouse wheel, you can see that I'm getting closer and further away and just zooming in and out. And if you want a bit more fine control over the zooming in and out, you can always press Control and right click. And there you can see I'm very smoothly zooming in and out. But let's say we get a little bit lost sometimes and our center work plane is way over there in the distance. You can always press F and the camera will snap back to the center of the scene here. So we have how to move through the scene. Let's just take a look at the workspaces themselves. So we have three little workspaces to keep track of here, and we're just going to go through the one on the upper left for just now. So here in the upper left you have your basic adding and removing, painting, and adding shapes. All of this will be up here, and also selecting your colors. So let's start by, we can go from the bottom up here a little bit. I'm going to go to shape tool here, and you can create one of three different shapes with our shape tool. You can get the hollow box. I'm just going to make this by clicking and holding. I'm going to press and hold, and I'm going to start dragging it out on two axes here. You can see like it's going outward on the X and then on the Y axis, and we're just pulling outward like that. And when you release, you're not done quite yet. Now you can pull it upwards on the axis, and you can just leave that shape there like that. And let's create one of each just to see what it's like. So I'm just clicking and holding, and then releasing and clicking again. And let's make a little ellipsoid here. Press and hold. You can make a flat circle this way by just clicking and holding. And instead of pulling up when you release, just tapping again right after. But if you click and hold and release and then drag and click again, then you can have a nice little sphere here. So by default, everything is blue. But if we go into the color picker and we just pick, I don't know, green, and we can grab the paintbrush and start painting. One voxel at a time, basically. Wherever your mouse clicks is adding color. And we got a little smiley face on this little cube here. Or you could use the fill tool, and that will color everything of the same color, that color. So let's say I have this little smiley face here, but I don't want to lose it. I'm going to change my color, and now we have, because this is not the same color as that blue, it did not get bucketed. And so we can also add and remove faces to our shapes here. So if I add a face, you can see that I'm just everything that is connected from this circle outward. I'm just pushing outward from that circle. And this can happen in the color that you're selecting. You see that it's not adding green, it's adding yellow because that's my active color here. And that works for faces, voxels, and shapes. So I'm pushing faces out, adding 2, and the same goes for pushing faces in. I can push those in here, and just like that, I can push circle into a little flat, little half a marble there. And if we add voxels instead of faces, then we are basically able to add on top of the shape. Instead of painting, where we were just recoloring the blue, now we're adding a little smiley face on top of the blue here. You can see that it's got 3D shape and everything. And we just keep adding and adding and adding. Just keep extruding like that. And if we remove, same difference, but in the other direction, we're just erasing a single voxel at a time. But all of this can take a little bit of too many clicks. So we could always undo and redo much the same way that you would in any art editing software. With the Control-Z key, you can get this back, and with Control-Y, you can undo and redo in this way. Again, all of those keyboard shortcuts are just hiding out in here for you. I think the last couple things that I just want to point out here is if you have the eyedropper tool active, you can grab that blue and it automatically goes back to whatever you were using last. So if I grab that yellow, it's going to go back to add voxels because that's what I was doing last. And just to show you that our shape tools are a little bit different. Remember, we added a hollow cube and a filled box, and this is just me showing that they are indeed, one of them is hollow, one of them is filled. And that'll just about do it for this menu here in the upper left. So I'm just going to clear the scene here. Let's just go into advanced mode so I can do this real quick. And I'll jump back into basic. And we'll go over the differences between basic and advanced mode in one of the next videos. But right now I just want to get you familiar with the basic mode tools. And now that we're done with everything in the upper left, let's go over here to the upper right. And let's start with the ground plane, which is this gray cube, or not cube, this gray square that you've been seeing this whole time. And this just keeps you from being able to, let's say, add voxels into infinity. So right now you can see I'm clicking with add voxels active, but nothing is happening as long as I'm clicking outside of this ground plane area. This ground plane won't show up in your final object. It is really just there for you to have a surface on which you can add voxels. So once that is turned off, you'll notice that if you're clicking, nothing is getting added anywhere. So just be aware that if you're clicking and having trouble adding something, it might be that you don't have a surface to add it to, or the ground plane to add it to. And if you want to add another surface without adding more voxels or adding anything that will show up in your final object, what you can do here is go into the work plane and just click that and turn it on. And now it's like having another ground plane that is going in another direction here. And you can change the direction of that work plane. So I could even turn off the ground plane and use the work plane kind of like I would the ground plane. It's really just your preference if you want to have the ground plane or work plane facing that way. Another thing to note about the work plane is that you can move it. It starts out here in the center, but if you press minus or add over here, you can see that it's moving through the space. And now I can add, and it's a little bit further from that little plus mark. And that plus mark is actually the center or the hinge kind of the object. And I'll explain more about that in another video, but all you need to know for now is that it is considered the center of whatever object that you're making. So we've messed a lot with things just hanging out over here and over there in the upper left and right. But say if you're making things like a character or anything symmetrical, you're going to want to have a symmetry mirror on with which to do that. And now we can have many mirrors on. So all of these three things are the mirror tool, and they're just in different axes. So let's turn on the x-axis mirror. And now you can see we are adding a little bit to each side of the x-axis. And if we turn on yet another mirror, we can now add 2 at a time here. You can see that it's happening on and under the ground plane because it is the y-axis mirror. And if we turn on the z-axis mirror, now we're moving in 4 directions at the same time. So if we want to just hand draw a circle, we can kind of do that way. And just like the work plane, you can adjust the positioning of it. So with this as our center, you can now see that our little smiley face that we're adding is no longer perfectly in the center, but it is mirrored perfectly to itself. And just one last little thing here. When it's time to save your object, you can go up here and just press save and we'll commit it, but you can also adjust some of these details here by just clicking these 3 little dots. And now you can name your object. I'll name this one Bunny. You can add some tags, Bunny, Rabbit. This just makes things easier to find with the search. Creature. Add a little description. Cute little pink bunny. And you can take a thumbnail. Clicking here, you can change the camera angle or zoom in and out, and it'll give you a nicer little thumbnail. Maybe I can put them on something like green grass. Or, yeah, that'll do. And then I'll click save. And just another little thing here is that if you click save as, you're going to create another new object. So if you need to make a duplicate of your object, you can click save as, otherwise just click save to save on top of where you are. And that'll do it. Now your object exists and you can drag and drop it into any of your games. And there's these 3 little checkboxes to keep in mind here: published, usable by others, and remixable. If you turn all of them off, you'll see this little warning, reduce permission. Your games might be broken if this happens. Published means everyone can see it. You can put it in your own games. If you make it usable by others, other users can now find your object in the search and use it as an object in their games. If you want it to be remixable, then other users will then be able to search your object, save a copy of it, and then change anything from the color to the shape, or anything within the Voxel Object Editor in their own separate saved duplicate of the object. And that should just about do it. Thank you for making it to the end of this tutorial, and I hope you found it helpful. I encourage you to explore and make a few objects now, and stay tuned for the next videos, and we'll go more into animation and the advanced mode controls. But if you get stuck or have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us on our Discord. Just search .bigbang.com/Discord in your browser. Our devs are always around there. to help out. And I hope you have a wonderful time making some voxel objects. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.